My class earlier this afternoon, I was thinking about it, and I said, you know, the reason why our Lakota language has never gotten any bigger or better and people aren't speaking it is because nobody took the time to teach all this stuff. And nobody took the time to learn all this stuff. Every time somebody teaches Lakota, right away it's red, yellow, black, white, horse, dog, you know, and buffalo. Remember I told you guys about Tatanka? Was that you guys I told you about Tatanka? Big meat. Pop the bubble. I popped the bubble. We all thought it was something really sacred. And Ta is just meat. Tanka is big, big meat. A lot of our words are like that. We just have key words. A lot of the words, you have to make sure you know your sounds. And right now, this first whole month, that's all my game is. I want you guys to know your sounds. I want you guys to recognize the sounds, recognize your consonants, recognize your words with diacritical marks. All the words with diacritical marks. The reason why all these are on here is because I'm using the vowels. That way you'll recognize the sound. Kate. Because I was talking about somebody whose Indian name is Tatewin. And everybody calls her Tate. Tate? What the heck? Gee, what kind of name did you get? And she said, no, my name is Tatewi, she said. I said, oh, okay, sorry. But that's the reason why I want you to recognize diacritical marks and the sound, the Lakota vowels. See? Ta, te. Ta, te, he. A question. You can also write an H on here. That way you'll know that it's a Tate. Ha, lila tate. I just put this in there. It means it's really windy. Lila. Anytime you hear lila, it's nowadays it's also used as a slang language. When somebody does something, they'll say lila. You know, it's like, oh really? You know. But it's really windy. So it changes as it goes along. It's like Osni. If I said Osni here, you can say Ha Osni. Ha Osni hello. Ha Osni sto. Oh, you can't say I'm cold. You can't say Ma Osni. Ma Osni, Ni Osni, He Osni. You can't use that. That's not accepted. That's not part of the language. Isn't that crazy? Because you can say Osni he, you know, or I can't come up to you and say Onisni he, you know. You can't say that. It's unacceptable. It's not part of our language. But you can say machuita, but I'm not going to use that word yet. Machuita. It's I'm cold. Or hechuita. Hechuita. You know, or nichuita, you know, but I can't use it. I can only use it on certain terms, and it has to be like outside, or air conditioner, or refrigerator. So, osni he, osni yellow means you guys are talking about something out there. Here's some statements, ksto and yellow. Anytime it's a statement, you ksto, put it right here, ksto. Two consonants together, ksto, ksto. That's a female language. Yellow is men, yellow, yellow. But you can't, we do have a word, it's yeah, or we can use lo, but they can't go with a statement. Isn't that funny? There's rules to those. You can't say a statement and you can't say lo. It's like hechamukte lo. That's an easy one. But you can't say hechamukte yellow. No. So you have to learn how to use the statements too. And usually I always say it's an answer or a statement that you can use the main words. These are the main words that we always use. The only time you have to use them, you don't have to use them all the time, because you can always use yeah. You can always use yeah all the time. But if you want to make an impression when you do public speaking, then you say yellow or ksto. Ksto. There's a lot of words too that we're going to be doing later on. We have two consonants together. How do you make a sound with two consonants together? And one of them wanted kata. Kata. Just a regular word kata is hot. Hot. Like that water is hot. Kate, you know, or if this was hot, I'd say, ooh, kate, you know, kata. O kata he means the warm air or outside, you know. The heater's on, I'm hot, o kata he. Yes, o kate. And look at the words, how they change. This one ends with a A. This one ends with the E. Like I said, I'm learning about myself also. I'm really surprised at how much I've learned, but I've never used it and never really identified with it. So I'm learning about myself too. I'm going to find out why these change. Okata and okate. Okata he. But I can't say okate he. I cannot use this up here. Okate he. I have to say okata he. Okata he. And it's ha okate. I can't say ha okata. Ha okate. So I'm going to find out why these change. It's all part of the grammar when you go about learning words. Okate. Is it hot? Yes, it is hot. If I put lila in there, it'd be yes, it is very hot. Ha, lila okate. And it's funny because I was trying to make things really simple and trying to use just one word. That's where I came up with osni and tate and kata. You know, trying to make things a little simpler. And as I was writing it, I started to figure out that these words change in itself. You can use the word itself alone, or you can add on to it. Then you can add, then it changes. The vowels start changing. You know, why is that? I wonder if that's the one they call morphology, because there's morphology, syntax. I'm trying to stay in just the simple terms. Here's another one. Lol watching. Lol yaching. Found out one of my biggest arguments, and they didn't like me for it. They got mad at me, but lol watching. And this is in a lot of the books also. It's in the books, lo watching. Well, lo is not even a word. You know, want is a word, but lo is not a word. And the reason why I said that is because I was remembering how my mom was talking to me, and she said, lol iwach ankte. Lol iwach ankte. Or lol iwaganikte. Or lol opget. It means I'm going after food, groceries. I'm going to cook food. And that's what it meant. But when it came down to fast speech or slang language, it became low watching. Low watching is not a word. It's low watching. Because all the other parts of cooking, buying groceries, looking for food, it all doesn't connect unless you change just that one little letter. And you have to learn how to say it the right way. Because otherwise, we'll change our language. So that was a lo yachi here. See, that one is later on when we're doing conjugations. When we're doing conjugations, these are going to be coming up. These are some of the, this is one of the words always used in the conjugations. Lo wachin, lo yachin, he lo chin, hena lo chimpi, hena lo chin, yuha lo chimpi. So I think there's 7 conjugations, but we're going to be learning all that later on. But I'm trying to stay as simple as I can right now. Notice the nasal N's are being used in there. E, chi, there's a dot over the C. It means it makes a C with a dot over it makes a ch sound. Ch. So anytime when you see that dot, you'll recognize it right away. Chi. It's not wa si, or it's not ya si. It would have been really different if somebody wrote it just plain, because I used to write without diacritic if I wrote it this way. And just leave it like that. And somebody come by and lo asi. What? You know, what does that mean? So I'm trying to stay away from that kind of language. Fast language, substitute language, slang language, that's what it is, slang. Lo wachi, lo yachi here, lo wachi. See how the accents come in? Lo yachi here, okay? Lo wachi. There's where the accents are. And later on, we're going to start writing sentences. We're going to do that because our language is has a lot of expression in it. A lot of expression. So lo yachi here, lo wachi. Even as a question, that comes out different, you know. Lo yachi here, you know. Lo wachi, you know. So even the expression makes it, so there's always has to be accents in there. Always make sure you have your, after a while you're going to start learning how to write without your vowels. Once you start learning how to use your vowels, you'll learn how to start eliminating a lot of things. And you'll be able to read it. Here's a good one. One of my students works at the senior citizen home in White River. So he was coming up with all these terms. He wanted to be able to speak to a lot of the elderlies and ask them different questions, you know. So that's why we went with all these 5 main words. These are all the main words we went with. Osni, khate, khat, okata, lo, okay, ima puze. And it's really crazy. Ima puze, I didn't write that question part. Oh, ini puzahe is the question part. How do you say, are you thirsty? Ini puzahe. Is your mouth dry? That's all it is. Isn't that crazy? Ini puzahe. Ima puzahe. That's all it is your mouth dry? Yes, my mouth is dry. It has nothing to do with thirsty. You know, some always say, mini wachi. It's I want water. Mani achi hai. Do you want water? But if it's thirsty, is your mouth dry? Ini puza hai. Ha, ima puza. I had to teach him that one. Yeah, the first one here is my mouth is dry. Okay, that's me. Here's the question. This is the question. Ini puza hai. Ni is you. Because if I said mini achi hai, all I have to, it's water, you know. And ima puza, you can drink anywhere from Powerade to coffee to anything, any kind of drink you want, because you have a dry mouth. Huh? It's an agreement, yeah. It's just an agreement. Huh? Huh? Ima puza. Yeah. Yes, I'm hungry. Huh is always a expression of agreement. You guys getting that? I hope so, because I'm not. Like I said, I'm learning too. I'm learning, but what I'm learning is I learned how to do all this. And then just teaching it and using it, I'm starting to realize how much play we have in our language. We have a lot of play in it, and it takes time to think about. Because like for me, because I'm bilingual, if somebody came in and said something to me in Lakota and I have to turn on and say it to you in English, what do you think happens? What do you think happens to me? Because it comes to me in Lakota, I understand it. I have to turn it all around, turn it into English, and it has to come out all in English. Make sure I say it right, translate it. That's how I work. Because if it's something says to me in English, it has to come in here and it has to register in Lakota, and I have to turn around and say it in Lakota. I had to teach myself all that. And it's really hard because well, I guess for me it's not really hard because ever since I was real little, we've had friends who didn't speak English, speak Lakota. So I've always been the middle person translating. If somebody was speaking Lakota or singing Lakota or saying something Lakota, I turn around and I translate in Lakota. When my husband and I got together, I told him I didn't want to marry him because he wasn't Lakota, but he didn't want to leave me alone, so we got married. And I used to sit there, and because my whole family, we spoke Lakota constantly, okay? And so anything we did, he used to say, "What they say? What's going on?" You know. Nice to translate it to him, you know. And pretty soon I thought, you know, you want to be with me? You either sink or swim. You know, that's it. I'm not gonna be sitting here translating anymore. And so I bought him all these books to give him all these books, and I said, start. And he used to write out everything he used to write me love letters, and he used to write them all in Lakota. And it was always translated word for word, you know. So I come back and I say, "Gee, what the heck is this? You know, what are you writing about?" Then I said, "Oh, my dad used to say, behave yourself," you know. So I started translating, writing it out, and I'd write him. He used to write me poems and love letters and songs. So I'd write them all out in Lakota the right way and give it back to him. And that's how he learned. He learned how to talk Lakota, and he taught himself. It's called total immersion, because in order for him to be with us, he had to learn and pick it up, because we weren't going to be sitting there translating for him, and we weren't going to tell him, you know, turn around and talk English just for his sake, you know. So he learned. So I know immersion works, you know. Yeah. Anytime you have shni, when you have shni, it's not. It's a not. No, it's not cold. No, it's not hot. You can say the same thing. You can say it on here. Hiyatchateshni. Hiyatchateshni. Ha, tchategsto. I even heard some who, you know, some come in and say, "Tchate," and they'd say, "Tchate," you know, and that's it, you know. It's just a term, you know. It all depends on how you express it also, I guess. Huh? You know. Trate. 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 Make sure you get the words in there. The sounds. And learn how to make it. Remember I was telling you, if you write a word, break it down into syllables. I'll use that last one. It's really easy. Ha, I, ma, bu, ze, yellow. Okay? Or ksto. Okay, the thing you do when you want to learn Lakota language, instead of make it into a slang or a hurry up sounds, here's what you do. If you ever notice Lakota language, it breaks up into syllables. 1, 2, and everyone has a vowel in it. Mapuze. And then yellow, and oh, that one's one word. Ksto. So when you start writing Lakota words, I always tell them use colored pencils or markers, highlighters, and you start separating them. Huh. Imapuze yellow. Ha. Imapuze yellow. Pretty soon, ha. Imapuze yellow. You know. Pretty soon you start learning how to say it fast. And it's all split up with the vowels. Everything is split up in vowels. All Lakota words. Split up in vowels. You see it now? There's a pattern. Watching. I think that there's ways of teaching and learning that we could utilize, but we have to understand other people's language, ways of learning. I even had experience at that Denver Center for International Studies, 22 languages. Those kids were learning 22, whatever language they wanted to learn. And they were talking them in English, in their language, in the hallways, in the restaurant. They really had a fancy restaurant, you know. And they talked their languages. And so all the ones in my class, teacher, we want to learn how to speak Lakota out there. You know, and we ended up turning it into a street language. We called it street language, you know. Hi, you know, that type of thing, you know. Just language that you can talk to each other as you're passing in the hallways or in the bathroom or in the kitchen or dining room, you know. Street language, constantly on the move, you know. That's what I want to teach you guys. So that way when you're out here, it's an everyday language you're going to hear. And you can talk to other people that way, you know. It's always, hi, how are you doing? You know. Hi, how are you doing? How are you doing? You know. Are you doing good? Are you fine? I'm fine. You know, I'm good. I would just end up saying washte. You know, that's it. Anybody ask me, I'll say, oh, washte. You know, but there's a lot of small language that you guys can learn and utilize, and we'll bring out all those words when you start doing it. That's all introductions, all the learning how to use the vowels, making the sounds, you know, how to recognize all the little diacritical marks, and the sentence structure. Sentence structures. It gets pretty easy once you catch the pattern. Lakota pattern, because the Lakota pattern, everything is like, these are all more like feelings, you know. It's not anything solid. It's all feelings. Once you come into solid things, main subjects, all those come first, you know. And that's why I want you to find some sentences that have those on there, you know. How are you going to write it? Write a sentence in English, you know, and then translate it into Lakota, each word translated into Lakota. If you want to, you can try to turn it around and see how it works. How it works as a sentence. Because a lot of the times we don't use ands, buts, ifs, so, you know, all those kind of words, those little words that we use. I was really proud to get this job because, and you guys got to help me along, okay? I was proud to get this job because I wanna produce some Lakota speakers, okay? That's why I'm making it simple. I want you guys to understand so you can use that simple language. It doesn't have to be long sentences. You don't have to use hard words, you know. But learn how to write it so that way when you're going to say it, you'll know how to say it. But I want to stay in the area where you will learn how to recognize your sounds, learn the sentence structures, make it short sentences, you know, learn all the sentence structures, learn all the critical marks. You can use statements and questions. We'll kind of stick to that now. Just a minor part of the conjugations. And we'll stick to that. Stick to that till you guys learn the patterns, recognize them, and then we'll move on after that.